What up? What up? What's going on? Uh-oh.
Yo, yo,
I can
yo.
hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
Everything's copacetic over here, brother. We good, brother.
Hey, I love to see it. I see the shirt, man. You representing early this year? Like that's what we doing?
Hey, I think we're gonna have a good year this year, so I might as well go ahead and start representing early, man.
Man, I don't know who I'm representing. I got Texas on the head. I got LA on the shirt. Hey, we just whatever. We with whatever this year. Like whatever happens.
Facts.
Man, it is another week, another week. So, of course, we told you guys we have um, definitely been having a whole nother direction shift with the podcast. Not completely, but having more interviews, having more, I guess, new people. We had a lot of promoters that a lot of people knew. We had a lot of athletes that a lot of people knew. But now it's time to shine the spotlight on some. I don't even want to say up and coming, but they are up and coming people who you may have heard of or you may not have heard of. But this is a perfect week for you to tune in and stay tuned in. But we got to pay the bills first. So if you guys do not know, we need you guys to head straight over to chulaware.com and make sure to grab you some trunks, grab you some socks, classic shorts, whatever you may need for your competition season, and use those codes eShell10 or Carolina Muscle. I'm about to say, hopefully, the person we're bringing on today was wearing Shula wear. I'm pretty sure he was. So
Hopefully he used code Carolina
introduce,
Muscle. If he didn't, we gonna have to drop elbows on him.
and if not, he probably gonna go grab some using Carolina Muscle or eShell10 after the episode. So it's all good. But go ahead and introduce our guest.
Man, we have a newly pro classic guy coming to the show with us today, man. He's from Germany. He spent his first 15 years of his life in Germany, and the last 15 years, plus many more, is here in the US, man. His name is Tim. So let's go ahead and bring Tim to the stage.
Let's go. What's up?
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you? Glad to be here.
Absolutely. One thing Eric likes to say, I'm gonna go ahead and say it before he does, because I'm not going to beat these allegations. He likes to say that I don't like other classic guys to be on the show. So I'm gonna make you feel all warm and fuzzy while you sit down and talk with us for the next 30, 40 minutes.
You should feel honored. You're like probably the third classic guy that's been on this podcast.
Oh wow. Okay. Feel very honored. Glad to be here.
Well, Tim,
But,
before we get started with our questions, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Right. So I am originally from Germany and no military history or anything, just German. And I moved here with my family when I was 15 and to the Charlotte area, actually, up in Lake Norman. And I went to high school here and then I ended up going to college and I played football in high school, actually. Ended up being a field goal kicker because that came kind of naturally as a soccer player growing up. And I played 2 years of college football. And after that, I ended up transferring schools and focused on academics. And that's when I got back into music. Like that's kind of what I do as a career now. I'm a musician and I have a recording studio at my house. So that's sort of besides bodybuilding, sort of takes up most of my time. And then that's sort of how I got into training too, being an athlete growing up and playing football. And then I recently got back into bodybuilding about 10 months ago after 6 years of not really being in the gym or being physically active besides playing music because I'm mainly a drummer. So that's like a little physically active. But so it's been a nice experience getting back into it. And it came back rather quickly. But yeah, that's sort of the quick summary.
Okay.
all right. So you done answered a lot of questions because I'm trying to be observant. I was like, I see like the studio, the soundproof behind you. So I was like, okay, where does he got a studio? What's going on? But when did you get into music or drumming? Was that something you did as a youth or you picked it up along the way?
So I got into music very early. I think I was about 4 or 5 when I started playing the drums. And this was in Germany still. My stepdad's actually a professional musician, and he was like my big idol growing up. It's kind of a funny story too, like how him and my mom met. And then I played probably until I was about 14 or so, and then I took a hiatus for music to focus on sports. And then I got back into music probably in my early 20s. I was probably about 20, 21 or so, you know.
All right. My question for you. You said you moved over here when you was 15. So, what made y'all transition from Germany to the U.S.?
It was mainly my dad moving here for work, you know, and I was actually going to a Catholic boarding school in Germany for the last 5 years of living there. So I was glad to live with my family again, and I always kind of dreamed about moving to America, to be honest, you know, because I liked American music and American movies, and kind of pop culture is like largely American, you know, even in Europe. And yeah, so it was my dad moving here for work, and I got to come along, you know, and as you can imagine, it was quite the culture shock going from a Catholic boarding school in Europe to a public high school in America, you know.
That was going to be my follow up question to that. Like, what's the biggest difference between Germany and the U.S., whether it's culture, whether whatever it is? Like, what was the culture shock to you once you got to the U.S.?
Well, I guess largely it's different when you're younger, right? So, like as a 15-year-old, that's going to be different than if I were to move here today. But I feel like the main thing I noticed, people tended to be a lot more optimistic and positive over here, you know, like in Europe and maybe in particular Germany. Like, I feel like people tend to have sort of a more negative outlook on things and just general sort of state. And here it seemed very positive, you know, people were just happier overall, and the weather was better. So, you know, in a way, I was really glad to move here.
Okay.
So some episodes we try to draw a connection to the guests and make it more than just bodybuilding, right? And I guess the connection here is we are all, or you're not from North Carolina, but you most of your life was spent in North Carolina. Now it's kind of tied, right? So as soon as you said Lake Norman, it shot signs in my head because I was just like, I went through your page scrolling. I was like, hey, he's at Crush It. Like he works out at the same gym sometimes. So I saw that. But so you said you were a drummer, you played football, but what was your inspiration to get into bodybuilding? Like what was that? Like is it, and I guess the first question I want you to answer before you answer that is was bodybuilding big in Germany when you were growing up? Like did you see it a lot over there, or was that just something when you came to the States?
So, I guess my earliest sort of memories are that at the boarding school there were a couple guys who I guess were training with weights, you know, and I just was kind of impressed by that. So I remember when I was about 12 or so, I got a set of dumbbells and I was doing some exercises to try to build up my arms and shoulders and stuff. So I was always kind of interested in weight training, I think, but back then there really wasn't any opportunity to, you know, we didn't have a gym at the school or anything. So I first got introduced to weight training basically in high school when I moved over here. You know, we had like a class that you could take and they taught you the basics like squats and bench presses and, you know, barbell rows and all that stuff. And I got really interested in it. You know, I felt like I just had like a sort of like a, it just came kind of naturally to me. I felt like doing the exercises and like learning how to do them. And I felt like my body kind of responded relatively quickly. So that's how I first got interested in it. And I think I first got interested in really like bodybuilding training because obviously I was doing like the workouts for football, and I got into like Olympic weightlifting for a little bit and doing a little bit of CrossFit and times, you know, all kinds of like ways of working out, I guess. And then I remember when I was probably about 21 or 22, I watched Pumping Iron for the first time. And that just like, I don't know, like something, and I think a lot of people had the same experience throughout the years, you know, from the 70s till today. Like there's just something about that movie that really, like, I feel like got a lot of people interested in bodybuilding, you know. So I remember watching that and being like, wow, like that seems really cool, you know, and that got me more interested in, you know, sort of doing like really training for the purpose of shaping your body rather than just, you know, it's fun to work out, which it certainly is, you know. But that, I think that sort of first got me interested in like real bodybuilding and the lifestyle of bodybuilding, you know.
Okay. Uh, Social media is always intriguing because it has a way of bringing people together. I remember when I first saw you, like you would pop on my page a couple of times, and I'm like, who is this guy? And then you kept popping up, so I was like, let me take a deeper look. And then like I seen you posing and stuff, I was like, yo, he has a really good physique. Like your classic physique reminds me of the golden era. Like you have one of them type physiques, and I think you had posted a picture of you posing one day, and I think I had messaged you and said, "Hey, you might want to do this or something like that." And like you took and you was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try it." I don't usually interact with a bunch of classic guys on the internet, so for me to do that, that means I've seen something in you. Just so you know.
He's not going to beat the allegations.
But let's go ahead and fast forward to this year. You did No Gear this year, and I believe that was your first show, right? Your first show ever.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Me and Eric was both there, and like I said, you just have one of them physiques that stand out on stage. So just give us your process of getting ready for that show, with it being your very first show and everything.
Right. So I got it back into training about 10 months ago. And at first, it was literally just because I felt out of shape and I just turned 30. And I was like, let me get back into working out, because if I don't do it now, I might never. And then within a month or so, man, I just kind of fell back in love with training. And then I started like my Instagram page or whatever for the fitness stuff. And there was a guy that lives in Mooresville now who used to own a gym that I went to in high school, who I knew he competed as a bodybuilder himself and he's been a coach for a long time. And he messaged me and he was just like, hey, like, I think you have a lot of potential. If you're ever interested in, taking this seriously, I would love to work with you. And I thought about it for a day and I was like, sure, let's do this. And then I remember going to the Queen City Showdown to just kind of check out a show because I'd never been to one. And I thought it looked really fun and like a really positive, cool experience. So I researched shows in the area, and the next one was the No Gear Classic. So I was like, I'll buy a ticket and set a date. And I think it was helpful too because that way I had like a goal to work towards.
Yeah.
Mm.
To be fair, I think me and Eric had this discussion. For us, the talent level at No Gear for the Amateur Classic was crazy. Like I never seen anything like it. Like top three could have went either way any given freaking Saturday. Like either way. So that was something amazing to see at No Gear with you guys being on stage.
And I was about to say, even with that being your first show, and it was funny because like I thought we were gonna get, and I have a picture of you, so I'm gonna put it at the end of this episode because it's a question. But I thought we were gonna get, because like everybody was just like, "Who's the man with the mustache?" Like that's what you were like, the man with the mustache backstage, and then now you got this whole beard. So I was like, we don't like. I don't even know if we're talking to the same person right now, but it's fine. I'm pretty sure we are. The physique is still the same, but
I'll bring the mustache back.
okay. Oh, it's coming back. So I think with that show being, I would say, as difficult, like it was a very tough show. You later on went to win your pro card. I'm pretty sure Jamal has a question for that, but I'm not going to step on that question. But did that mentally prepare you for your later shows after going to a show so tough? And it's just like, well, if I had to go through this my first show, it can't get much harder.
Yeah, I think so. And I knew it was going to be tough going into it. So what I ended up doing was I bought an entry ticket to a show 2 weeks after, because I was like, the goal was to win the pro card. So I was like, I'm not super certain it's going to happen at the first one. So I was like, I kind of like the idea of having a second shot 2 weeks after. So I feel like that kind of took the pressure off a little bit mentally.
Okay, so let's get into the pro card win. So what? 2 weeks later, you went down to South Carolina, and you was victorious. What did earn that pro card mean to you?
Yeah, that's a good question because going into it, I was thinking to myself, like, what if I don't win this? Like, am I gonna like get really sad about it? Am I gonna continue bodybuilding? In my mind, I was like, I would definitely keep going, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's just kind of depending on who shows up that day and whether the judges think you had the best physique or were able to showcase it the best. So I tried not to get too caught up in it, but it was nice to win, and it felt good. And um, I feel like it was especially nice, like with like how recently I got back into training. So I felt like I was really on sort of a very positive roll and had a lot of good things happening in a short time. So it was a good feeling, you know.
Good.
All right, so I'm gonna shift back to your drummer influence because this is intriguing. So usually, guests will give us something about their life or something that they do that helps them with bodybuilding, or sometimes, like for example, we had I think Angela. She was a dancer, and she was just like, "Hey, this helped me with bodybuilding." So, is there anything you can take from drumming to correlate it to bodybuilding?
Well, I think the main thing, and I was thinking about this the other day too, is like having a practicing mindset, you know, because like to become better as a musician, you need to put in a lot of time practicing, you know, and doing the same thing over and over again and just trying to perfect it. And I think that has really been helpful in sort of like coming back to training now as like an older person than when I first got into training and was very interested and trained a lot, is coming into like into the gym with a practicing mindset, you know, of trying to get better at the exercises every time I do them. And so I think in a way that's been like very helpful, you know. And even having that time away and then coming back with a fresh perspective has been nice, you know, because I mean, I'm sure it would be different if I would have just kept going, who knows, you know. But so I feel like that's like a main thing, like adopting sort of this practicing mindset to, you know, weight training, but also to posing, obviously, because posing is maybe a little closer to music, like in terms of, you know, because it's a performance and all that stuff. But I would say that's the main carryover, so to say, you know.
Okay. So I think this is just a caveat off of what Eric just asked you. What's one lesson bodybuilding has taught you that you apply to your everyday life?
Probably just the consistency, man, you know, and doing things like following a plan, even like just regardless of how you feel that day, you know. I feel like because I'm like a very feeling person, like my personality type, you know. So I think like just sort of the strictness and the routine of bodybuilding has been really nice, you know, and I think has been like a good anchor every day, you know, having like a very fixed routine, and especially in the couple months before the contest, you know, it was sort of nice to have like I know exactly what I have to do today to, you know, make continue working towards this goal, you know, and to be
Hmm.
perfectly honest, that's been a little tough in the couple of weeks after the contest because all of a sudden that's gone, you know, and it's like this thing that was sort of the center of sort of my life for a couple weeks and like mentally too, like everything was sort of
Yeah.
focused on like once that just drops out, I mean it's like, you know, it's just it's a weird experience and that's all of a sudden just gone, you know.
Okay, so like we said, this is not structured. It's always all over the place. So I have to dig back into one more thing you said in your intro. So you say your stepdad was your inspiration to start playing drums. I seen your page. I'm pretty sure Arnold was your inspiration to start bodybuilding, right? I could be wrong.
Yeah, surely one of them, yeah.
But what was your inspiration to play football? Like you coming from being a soccer player, you're like, what was your first thing that said, this is the reason I want to play football or American football?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm not sure that it was necessarily like one person the way it was maybe with the drumming and then with bodybuilding, but I just remember going to the first football game when I first moved over here, and just like the whole experience was so surreal, like coming from Germany, and it felt like such a cool thing that the soccer games at my school just didn't have, you know. And I was like, I really want to be part of that, man. Like that just seems like a really cool thing to be part of. And then it's funny because at first I think I wanted to be like a defensive back, like a safety or something. And I went to like the workouts over the summer, but pretty quickly realized like this is difficult, you know, and it's like it's not going to be easy to pick up. And I remember just like punting the ball back to the DB coach and whatever, and he was just like, "Damn, like this kid can really kick." So he got me in touch with the kicking coach, and then you know that was a much better fit.
DB. Hey, they say DB is probably the hardest position to play in football.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears again. Are you doing any more shows this year? Or are you doing the big dance? Are you doing the Yorton Cup this year?
I don't know yet. I think I'm going
Or
to decide in a couple weeks.
okay. So if you are going to do it, what are you looking forward to when you step on that stage? If you are, hypothetically. Well, let me not say hypothetically anymore because we got chewed out for hypothetical situations last week.
Um, I think it would mainly just be a cool experience to be part of it, and I guess like individually, I would just want to bring a better package than I did in South Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But I wouldn't really have any expectations of, like any placings or whatever. I think it would mainly it would be a cool experience to even just be part of it.
Right.
And I think Jamal, like usually we always try to speak about our experiences along with learning about our guests. And I will honestly say we always used to talk about the experience of the Yorton. And you have, you have competed in a very difficult show, right? Which was no gear. And with your mindset of, hey, I just want to get reps and reps and reps, I think the Yorton will be that next step up from the competition that you faced. Especially like you said, is in totality, the best of the best is going to be there. We always say everyone should experience it once, at least, right? And hopefully you won't just experience it once. I know it'll probably be more. But I always say, if you have a chance to go, like by earning your pro card, you probably should definitely give it a shot. And we're saying that also because we know the physique you have, right? If there was somebody else with a different physique, we may be like, you know what, add some size, grow. But with a physique like yours, like I feel like you have the shape. And if anything, it's more reps in the book. Like the only time you can get reps in bodybuilding, unfortunately, is not in the practice space, but also the best place to get it is on stage.
Right. Yeah, that means a lot. Thank you for saying that. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Outside of bodybuilding and outside of you playing music, who is Tim? Tell the viewers who Tim is outside of bodybuilding and music.
Well, I feel like I tend to like people tend to expect me to be differently than I actually am. Like looking from the outside, I feel like that's been sort of been like that for most of my life. So I don't know what people tend to think, but I'm actually like a very introverted person. I really like to read. I was a philosophy major in college. So I feel like I'm probably a lot calmer and quieter than people might expect. So it's like I was usually the person in class who just listened for most of the classroom discussions and didn't say much. So I'm a very sort of chill person for the most part, to be honest. And I spend a lot, like I like spending a lot of time sort of in solitude too. So I'm definitely on the introverted side, which I think could be a good thing for sort of the bodybuilding lifestyle, because I felt like maybe the last like 4 to 8 weeks before the contest, I did feel like I was a little bit in like this monk mode, which is like me and my daily routine sort of, and because I wasn't spending as much time with friends because, obviously I wasn't drinking or anything like that. So, yeah. So I feel like in that time, it was sort of probably good that I'm sort of rather introverted. I enjoy sort of reading and all these things. I was listening to a lot of audiobooks at the time, and kind of another thing I kind of was doing was listening to the same album over and over again. That was kind of, I don't know if anyone else does this, but that was like, it was almost like an anchor, like every day I was kind of
Yeah.
listening to the same album in the gym or whatever.
Okay. And I like to think that sometimes introverts make the best bodybuilders. And I say
Yeah.
that for the reason of there's not that expectation of them constantly having to be around people and things of that nature. But they also have, and correct me if I'm wrong, they also have a way of people not expecting what they give on stage. Like it's almost like you command a presence, you practice your posing in solitude. But I think as soon as those stage lights hit, you have a way to flip a switch and show somebody different. Is that true, or am I just reaching?
No, I think that's right, man. It's like it becomes like a performance, because I mean, as a musician, like I spend a lot of time sort of in the spotlight too, on stages, and it probably doesn't necessarily seem like I'd be that much of an introvert, but I feel like that it kind of balances out in a way, it's like when I'm away from it, it's like it's kind of nice to be kind of in solitude, whatever. And then, being on stage kind of fills part of that sort of, connecting with people sort of thing. And I like hanging out with friends and all that stuff. It's not like I'm just by myself all the time, but it's like it's kind of where I recharge, I feel like, for the most part.
Okay.
Okay. You got another question, or you want to go into the top five?
I have top five. I've been noting it down.
All right, let's do it.
Do you have them or you have them or no?
Nah, I don't got nothing
All
to
right.
say. You got it,
So,
big dog.
this is the part of the show where it's completely impromptu. I've been listening and jotting and noting, so I have a few questions. So, um, I'll end on this in the physique picture. But do you prefer football or football?
I feel
'Cause-
like it's gone through stages in my life. Like when I was playing American football, I definitely thought it was the better game. But with the World Cup right now, it's kind of making me reconsider. I mean, unfortunately, Germany had a really bad showing, and the U.S. we probably expected more than what ended up coming out of it. But so right now, I'm kind of on this like soccer football high. But I think they're both great games, man. Yeah.
All right. Since you already tried to answer my second question, you didn't answer it though. Who were you cheering for in the World Cup?
Oh, I was cheering for Germany. Just I feel like it's probably never gonna go away. But by the time Germany was out, I kind of switched over.
US, and now they're gone. So who you got now? So who do you have winning the World Cup?
I think France is gonna win it, man. But
Okay.
who knows?
Okay. Okay. So I have three more questions. So, what is your favorite German dish?
Ooh. Well, do I get like an entree and a dessert, maybe?
We go. All right. So we're going to treat it like American. So you get appetizer, entree, and dessert. So you get all
Okay,
three.
yeah, perfect. Um, for the appetizer, I'd probably take my grandma's cucumber salad, which like is like a very simple dish, but I just loved it as a kid. And I haven't had it in a long time, but I actually made something similar during prep that was kind of helpful, because cucumbers don't really have a lot of calories, so that was like a good thing to do. And for the entree, probably a Wiener Schnitzel, which I guess technically is Austrian, but it might as well be German at this point. I feel like it's part of the culture. And then for dessert, it'd be Apfelstrudel, which is like an apple, sort of like an apple pie in a way, but better.
Okay.
We're gonna need some captions for that so we could Google what those. What those are. All right. So I have three scenarios, and you have to say skip. Well, you can't start bench cut, but it's like you got to pick one, put them in order, basically. All right. So kicking a game-winning field goal for any college team that you play for. We could say that you could pick the college you played for. Kick a game-winning field goal. Packed out arena, being the drummer at the concert, or winning the Jordan.
This is difficult, man. I mean, um, I'd probably say the packed out arena drumming is the first place. The Jordan is the second place, and the field goal is the third place because it's kind of in my past life. I haven't stepped foot on a football field in about what, like 8 years now.
Okay. He made that very simple. I thought that would be harder. All right. So the last and final question is one of those like fill in the blanks or to be continued questions, right? So when you look at this physique right here, where do you want this physique to go? Like what do you feel like you can improve on, or how far do you want to take this physique?
Right. Well, I always felt like the front shots are kind of my stronger shots, you know. So in a way, that was kind of nicely chosen for my benefit. But I feel like things kind of change when I turn around, you know. So that's really my big focus, to have things not kind of have you know, the front shots be so much um better maybe than the rear shots, you know. I think for me that's mainly fixing kind of hamstrings and glutes, so that's been a big focus. And then I think a little bit more quad sweep would do me well, you know. I still get some comments online about having no legs, you know.
Oh wow.
And then just a little bit overall more size, you know, but I'm very happy with kind of what I was able to kind of bring over the last couple months, you know. Yeah.
All right, those are my 5 questions, Jamal. You got anything to close this out?
Hey, nah, man. Like, thanks for joining us, Tim. Like I said, I'm a fan of your physique. I don't say that to a lot of people, man, but truly, I'm a fan. So keep going, man. Keep working, and you're gonna do great things. Whether it's this year, next year, whenever it is, I got a feeling you're gonna do great things for sure.
Thank you so much. And thanks for having me, guys. This was very fun.
Yeah, no problem.
And if you ever up here in the area now, I'm in that Lake Norman, Charlotte area. You got to let me know. We got to get it
Will
lifted.
do. Sounds good, man. Yeah.
All right, y'all. But until next time, y'all make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. But Tim, where can they find you on Instagram?
Right. Add Tim Gawert Fitness, and I think it's the same on YouTube, which I, you know, don't post as much as I probably should. So Instagram is probably the best way to kind of follow me.
All right. And with that being said, y'all, go shoot him a follow. But until next time, y'all,